Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Results Austin 2017 fundraiser. Thank you all for coming. I guess we have a few repeat announcements. The bathroom's right back there. Go around the screen. Welcome to go. Continue eating, getting anything you want to eat, and maybe it's time to. Okay, most of you got fancier stuff than this, but silence your phone. I'd like to thank the Church of the Savior for hosting this event and the volunteers here at the church who made everything so easy. Thank you. And we have with us tonight two Results staff from Washington, D.C. We have Caitlin Van Orden, the Director of Individual Giving, and Joe Byrne, our Donor Engagement Officer. So they're here to make sure all your questions are answered. And with the Results volunteers in the room, please stand up. We also have two dignitaries here in the room that I'd like to acknowledge. First is, she spoke earlier, Mary Wilson. She's the Reverend here, and she's also running for the U.S. House of Representatives.
Or District 21. No, 21.
Lamar Smith. And also, Kathy Thomas is running for U.S. House of Representatives. And she's in District 25, running against Congressman Roger Williams. I know they both would like to have a chat with you, so do mingle with them.
We have petitions to sign.
Yes. There are many disasters, natural and man-made. We've got hurricanes, earthquakes, fires, and genocides, all rightfully calling for our attention and support. But at Results, we focus on the everyday disaster of poverty that disempowers and kills year after year, generation after generation. We appreciate you coming here to hear about Results' movement to end poverty. And let's take a moment now to watch a video that's called Voices That Change the World. So as they said, Results is a movement of passionate, committed, everyday people using their voices to influence political decisions that will bring an end to poverty. Over the years, thanks to support from donors like you, Results Advocacy has helped cut in half deaths from preventable childhood diseases globally and expanded access to Medicaid in the U.S. Results Advocacy has helped kids get a good start by eliminating school fees globally and by preserving early childhood education funding in the U.S. Results Advocacy has empowered parents by expanding access to microfinance globally and expanding earned income tax credits in the U.S. Results does not do on-the-ground anti-poverty programs. Our mission is to advocate for the policy and funding at the national level for programs like those that work. Results has two wonderful assets that enable us to do that: our staff and our volunteers. Results' small and dedicated staff does in-depth research on the solutions, issues, and promised progress. Results staff provides legislative expertise to help draft policy and guide volunteers on the most timely actions. Results staff empowers volunteers with training, support, and inspiration to become skilled advocates. The power of Results is our passionate and persistent volunteers. We speak to our members of Congress as constituents, voters in their community, not paid lobbyists. We don't do it alone, however. There are over 100 groups all across the country working in concert, offering opportunities for actionable, timely requests to our elected officials, thus creating a movement in Congress to end poverty. Now, our political system seems to be hopelessly paralyzed. People communicate via tiny tweets and large protests. These people are searching for a way to be heard. Results provides a way to take effective action and create positive change. I know. I have seen it happen. Healthcare is both personally and politically complex, but there are a couple of things that hopefully we can agree on. First, the healthcare system in our country needs to be fixed. And second, a program that has been in place for 50 years, Medicaid, has been a lifeline for millions of children, seniors, and people with disabilities. This year, many in Congress hope to repeal the Affordable Care Act, including putting caps on Medicaid. Results volunteers stepped up to the challenge. How? They asked tough questions at town hall meetings. They met one-on-one with their representatives and senators, and they wrote media, lots of media. Our volunteers have had over 300 pieces by the end of June, which is more than any entire year previously. And their message was strong. Don't vote for anything that cuts Medicaid for the most vulnerable. In July, results advocates from all 50 states converged in Washington for training on issues and effective advocacy. Inspired and armed with their media, they were ready to take their passion to the Hill. The Senate was poised to vote that day whether or not to consider any health care bills. The atmosphere outside the Capitol was electric with rallies, both for and against the proposals. Reporters and TV cameras were everywhere, but our activists were inside, being heard, having thoughtful face-to-face conversations with their elected officials and their staff. At Results, we often describe what we do as dirt work, dirt work, dirt work, miracle. That story was dirt work, take a deep breath, more dirt work yet to come. But just last month, Results had a miracle moment that some of you as long-term donors made possible. The U.S. government's efforts on global education have long needed some direction and oversight. Each session over the last 10 years, an Education for All Act was introduced, but despite activist efforts, the bills never made it very far. But last year, we had a moment of hope when the bill passed the House unanimously. But then it stalled in the Senate in December when one senator blocked the bill. Early this year, the bill was reintroduced, but called the READ Act, a catchy acronym for Reinforcing Education Accountability and Development. It had 10 co-sponsors, including our Congressman Michael McCall. But that's all it needed, is it passed the House unanimously the very next day. Results activists didn't have to lobby their representatives, as apparently they were still convinced from last year. We asked our senators to support the bill, and they too passed it unanimously. But this Senate added some amendments, so the House had to vote on it again after the Labor Day break. I feared the READ Act would be forgotten due to other priorities. Have you ever heard of completely unrelated items being tacked onto a bill.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly, Congress chose the READ Act as the perfect vehicle to carry some urgent issues. They slapped on Hurricane Harvey relief. They slapped on a provision to raise the debt ceiling. And they slapped on funding to keep our government running until December. You probably heard about all that in the news. You didn't hear about the READ Act, and that the leadership chose the READ Act precisely because of its strong bipartisan support in both chambers. Congress passed it. President Trump signed it into law. Republicans and Democrats, representatives and senators can work together and get things done. That, along with 10 years of dirt work by dedicated results staff and persistent volunteers, created a miracle.